This has been intense. This has been intense. So I'll tell you what I expected and what I didn't expect. What I expected was the level of nervousness. I always get nervous whenever I'm doing anything, especially large-scale things. But because this is the realm of the unfamiliar for me. I've never done anything quite like this before. And while I've worked on things for hours at a time, what I didn't expect was the level of the level of tiredness that comes. This is not me working in my studio. This is me working in front of a group of people, in front of a camera, in front of 3 or 4 cameras. And there's something about this that is performative, right? It is a performance of this person. And with a performance, with any performance, there is this question of the technical aspects of the performance. The portrait gallery was not such a large part of it, but for so many people when they come in, and even for me when I come in, I'm arrested by the stories of the 17 other boys, the 17 other teenagers, ranging from, that were killed in various ways. I'm arrested by these faces that are all staring at me. And I don't know what to do with that as I'm working on this face that is now staring at me. So there are 18 boys represented here. I feel like, what I feel is people trying to process what they're looking at. And there's a lot of sorrow in this room. And people process sorrow differently. Some people sit, some people are uncomfortable, they have to leave. Some people choose not to look at the things that are burdensome. So I'm sure there are people who came in here who didn't really read everything, because it's a lot to take in, but who just watched me paint. And I have to say that it's kind of nice to just be working and not have to necessarily interact with the people as they come in, because I don't know if I have the emotional fortitude to do that, to embrace everybody who understands why this should matter, or to try to explain to everybody who doesn't understand why they should care. That just takes a lot of energy. I think I have all of that. So I guess the answer to your question is I'm not even sure what I was expecting in terms of reaction. I didn't feel, I knew we had something special here, but it wasn't until the lights went out and all of the exhibit lights went on and it looked like the exhibit that I was like, I actually said, wow. I said, this is pretty amazing. This is exhausting. And I think it's different. See, it's different when you're in your studio and you're just working. It's one thing. But when you are kind of like, in a way, you're kind of captive to the project itself. So even if you have an emotional moment, there is no leaving, like you're here. And so I had to really figure out, once I realized this was going to be a problem, I was like, okay, what do I do exactly? Do I run out? Do I sit here? What do I do exactly? But that needs to be a part of this space as well, because this space right now is not a school auditorium. This is a space of remembering. This is also a space of mourning, and it's a space of tribute. And so I think for me, that, like, trying to figure out how to deal with the performance on that level is a little tricky. I'd like to think that it's getting easier, but it's not. Well, the double portrait was an interesting development. I knew I wanted to do something like that, but I didn't know that it would quite come out like this. It was at first a technical issue. Yeah. I had to figure out just technically what happened. And then And then it became an emotional one once I realized that it exists. But what we get in this room here are two instances of Trayvon, one of terror and one of just a portrait shot of him. And that's something we don't have with the boys here on the wall. And so I think that's kind of interesting. Like, what would their final faces look like, I wonder? And it's something I'm just thinking. They all had a final face, right? When Eugene Williams was being stoned in the water and then drowned, or when these three young men were interrogated by Detroit police officers and taken in the rooms individually and hearing the gunshots go off, knowing they were going to be next and executed for no apparent reason. I mean, they all had their final faces of shock or dismay or despair. And we don't get to see those. We can imagine them. Well, we get to see Jesse Washington's, right? I mean, that's the only image we have of him. Everything that happened was necessary. And I think that, so my worry is, and there would be a worry, my worry is that there's this energy that's been created in this space that people have consumed. And now they've left, and I don't know if they have clear guidance with what to do with that energy. That's my worry. I don't know if I should have thought this through more to create some kind of guide, like what to do, I don't know if that was my job to do, to be honest with you, but that's a concern I'm having right now. There's a whole lot of energy here. Now what? Now where do I go with this? What do I do? But I think it also feels kind of like, because the people who are coming to me and speaking are just thanking me in general, but I'm not sure that they know what they're thanking me for either. So I think we're equally confused. I think we're equally confused about what to think about all of this, but we know that it needed to happen. So I'm okay with that. I just don't know what to do with this feeling with what I think the last time I felt like this was I don't even think I don't think it was tenure. I think it was when I just completed the orals, my oral exams for at Yale. Just it's like you've been reading and studying and studying and reading and reading and reading and studying and reading and studying, and then the exams are just 2 hours long. And this huge weight, something you've been preparing for months and months and months, ends after 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? Like, that's where I'm at right